back in 2018 when The Predator came out and I was so hyped for it that I planned a whole series of Predator-themed reviews, only to scrap said reviews because the movie sucked so much monkey butt that I had to invent a new genre of reviewing to properly convey how horrible it was? Yeah, well, more than one shitty Predator movie was released that year because 3 days before The Predator hit theaters, a mockbuster was released direct-to-video called Predator World, which I saw in a Walmart bargain bin and just had to purchase out of curiosity. Apparently it's also known to go by Predator Planet and Alien Reign. And on that fateful day, I exposed myself to what is the current record holder for the single worst movie that I have ever seen! And coming from a guy who owns Food Fight, The Amazing Bulk, and House of the Dead Director's Cut where Uwe Boll tried to Mystery Science Theater his own film, that's saying a lot! It looks promising enough for a mockbuster, right? You've got an intimidating-looking alien looming large over a group of soldiers on the hunt, a space battleship, and an alien world in the background. This looks at least passably entertaining. Except every single last thing on this cover is a lie. Right down to how this isn't even the same alien from the movie. So how does our action-packed Predator knockoff begin?
Alien life form must take sample.
With a drunk ship captain playing with toys on the bodies of 2 strippers. What? Yeah, this right here is why I had to hold in this turd for a whole 5 years. I needed editing software that could black box all of the nudity. And no, this isn't a porn parody. Remember that I picked this up at a Walmart. This is meant to be a spoof of Predator, even though nothing in this movie has the first thing to do with Predator. Although I'm pretty sure the captain is playing with xenomorph action figures that they wrapped in pipe cleaners to get out of having to pay for licensing. Our movie begins on a spaceship called the Titan 1C. Get it? Which is having a New Year's Eve celebration. And by celebration, I mean they herded about 10 extras into a tiny office and told them to dance in the zero space that they have to dance.
The ship was struck by an ice comet and destroyed. The lucky ones died quick.
Yeah, the lucky ones didn't have to be in this movie. And good lord, this film already looks ugly as sin. They only bothered to build a few actual practical hallway sets, so half the time the actors are standing on one of the most blatant, shitty-looking green screens that you'll ever see. This was made in 2017, and I've seen better composite shots in the 60s! Our main protagonist is First Officer Lana Vickers, played by Tasha Takosa. And how is our badass action heroine introduced into the movie?
If we stick to this course, we should stay clear of the meteor storm coming from the Cortex region.
By the effects department making her look stupid. I can plainly see that meteor storm that you're avoiding mere feet outside through the green screen behind you. Another of our leads, Kenny, sells the guy some drugs in exchange for a keycard so his friends can party in the room with the escape pods, because apparently none of them have their own actual room on a damn cruise ship. And what exactly are these pills that Kenny is peddling?
They're designed to get women into bed.
So they're date rape drugs. Great. Did Bill Cosby secretly direct this from prison or something? It would explain the garbage eye special effects. Neither the film's opening nor closing credits list any director, but IMDb identifies the director as one Jeff Leroy, a man who's directed 4 movies from 2005 to the present. Can't imagine why he doesn't get much work. His other movies are called Rat Scratch Fever, Charlie's Death Wish, and Giantess Attack vs. Mecha Fembot, the third of which also stars Tasha Takosa. Vickers catches the other dolts screwing around near the lifeboats and scolds them with all the energy of a Karen complaining that Starbucks got her name wrong.
This area is off limits. No one's allowed up here.
After a few whole minutes of the captain's strippers fondling each other and making out, the ship is attacked by meteors.
My God.
Ice comets dead ahead.
Yeah, you know, ice comets that are green and have rock textures that exploded to green gas when they hit something. But it turns out these are no mere ice rock ball things, as they hatch into hideously animated stock Unity asset worms. Again, made in 2017. and they could barely animate these creatures without their textures warping and twisting to look as ugly and cheap as possible. The ship starts to blow up from the hull breaches, and we're treated to bad effects overload. And the captain dies via that bubble effect that Pitch Meeting uses for thumbnails to be funny! This is the closest the movie ever gets to comedy, by the way, because it's mind-blowing that anybody looked at these shots and gave them the green light. But since our characters were already by the lifeboats, they escape by climbing into a gas tank. No, really, in the center of the room is a gas tank, complete with shots where a liquid nitrogen label is blatantly visible, and that's supposed to be the lifeboat. And the second that it exits the ship, it's replaced with a CG model that looks nothing like the pod that was in the actual ship. They couldn't render a door properly. And there's a shot inside the life pod where the ship is blatantly moving backwards. And even the characters crashing onto a nearby planet can't go without annoying the living shit out of you, because Kenny takes one of his pills and the cast screams like they're orgasming the entire way down.
If the ship crashes, I can jimmy open the door with my throbbing love tool.
Okay, Vickers' expression here is kind of golden. You can pinpoint the exact moment that her soul exits her body as she realizes what a horrible mistake she's made signing on for this movie.
Di's an empath. She can feel what others feel.
Not since Jennifer Lawrence in X-Men Apocalypse have I seen an actress not even trying to hide that they want to light the set and their co-stars on fire. Even when they safely land on an alien planet, they're still talking about sex!
Oh, gross.
I guess the pills are still working.
Come on, can we talk about more important things?
You would think so, but unfortunately a major plot point in this Predator movie is about boner pills! Oh, and that unseen guy Zach from earlier who bought some pills is also in the escape pod for some reason, and he's dead. Why did he go to the escape pod to jack off when he had his own room on the ship? Because even the dead characters have to be insufferable morons. The leads crash in the middle of a national park and trigger a distress beacon to bring help, but they can't just wait it out in the escape pod because stupid.
We don't have a choice. We only have enough air to sustain us for the next 5 to 10 minutes.
So what you're telling me is that engineers of the future are so brain dead that if you don't just happen to wreck within spitting distance of an inhabitable planet, your escape pod will instantly kill you. Who the hell loads an escape pod with 5 minutes of air? I work as an engineer, and I almost feel like suing this movie for slandering the field. Now, even though the movie has ditched its green screens for actual filming locations, don't expect the visuals to improve. All of the footage from this point on is oversaturated to hell and has a yellow filter slapped over it to try and make the park outside their house look like an alien world. The entire rest of this butt-fugly movie looks like you're watching a nuclear apocalypse through a jar of piss. At this point, we get proper introductions to our leads. Kenny is a sex-obsessed drug dealer. Terry is a virgin who's dating Kenny for Lord only knows why. Dirk is the semi-competent dude with an actual head on his shoulders, and Diamond, the pink-haired girl, is an empath who can read the emotions of people around her. Only they don't know the difference between an empath and a telepath, so she can just read minds whenever she wants.
Kenny is the sex-obsessed, funny guy.
Terry is the innocent, worried virgin.
Di is the resourceful, tough girl with special abilities.
And then there's Jado, the dipshit who actually paid money for this movie, and then bought more copies to send to his friends.
He sent me something! All these years of watching Jado, and he sent me a gift! I mean, you can see it's one of these stupid mockbusters right here, but you know, I don't care. I trust Jaddo's judgment. It's probably one of these so bad it's good things. And you know what? I think I need a good laugh today. Can't be too bad, right?
I am responsible for like half of this movie's business. One of the biggest problems with this movie is that you will friggin' hate every last one of these leads. Be begging for these imbeciles to get killed as quickly as possible. Case in point, when the crew gathers all their supplies into a pile, and Kenny, who's playing with a flare gun by slamming it into his dick, hardy har har, blows up their supplies in one of the most blatantly telegraphed so-called jokes of all time. And then grins about it because what good has acting ever done for anybody?
It looks like we'll be going to look for food.
Well, that settles it. Murder Kenny for meat! I know you haven't reached the point of cannibalism yet, but I think an exception can be made.
Or diamond cutter, which is what's between my legs.
And you two still haven't.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm just not ready yet.
Hence, I brought the pills. And my blue balls are turning purple.
Jesus Christ, we freaking get it! Quagmire would tell this guy to give it a rest! Our comic relief's one and only bit is whining about having a boner for like 10 minutes straight. Meanwhile, it turns out that some of the alien meteors attached to the lifeboat and more abysmally rendered worms crawl out and go inside of Zack, reanimating his dead body. Zack is pretty much the only somewhat entertaining performance in the movie because the guy gives good zombie by acting creepy and intimidating, but he's only on screen for a few minutes because he's too good for this movie. Kenny leaves the group to go jerk off so that Zack can run into him, and it turns out to be really easy to trick Kenny into becoming Alien Chow.
Listen. It's beautiful.
I can hear him cracking. That's kind of cool.
Hey, and there's a sweet echo on account of my skull is so empty. And for how insufferable Kenny's been, we don't even get to enjoy watching him die. He's just sporadically edited to death with a flurry of jump cuts where the CG worms keep disappearing. Having successfully ditched Kenny, the group talks about relationships as they wander in search of food. They eventually realize that Kenny's gone, probably by the lack of wanting to punch someone, and they argue about whether or not they should split up.
Yeah, but groups of 4 are better than groups of 2.
What is this, a math contest?
Because if it is, we're all going to suck at it!
Kenny! 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 Kenny!
Again, 2017, there's plenty of free editing software that can do a better echo than that. Watch. This movie sucks! The girls eventually go off to look for Kenny and talk some more about sex and relationships on the way.
And you obviously don't want to have sex with him.
Wait, I never said that. I'm just waiting for the right time.
Oh my god, I don't care! None of this shit has anything to do with anything, but we have to fill up that 85-minute runtime somehow. I thought that this was a parody. Will one of you please do something funny?
Oh my god. They killed Kenny!
Diamond picks up the rocks that killed Kenny and gets a psychic reading that tells her the aliens did it. Our empath, who is actually a telepath, just got a psychic reading from a rock. Okay. Hey, Crystal, what can you do with this rock? Ah! Okay, yeah, I deserve that. Diamond goes to get help while Terry decides that humping Kenny might bring him back to life. And luckily I can show the two of them going at it because neither of them take off any clothes. These people learn to screw from Ride to Hell Retribution.
I know that this sounds crazy, but I think that meteor hit us on purpose.
I must say, Miss Tasha, you are glowing. Literally. Why the hell is your shirt glowing? They spend 6 damn minutes on Terry taking one of the sex pills, then debating whether or not to dry hump her dead boyfriend, and then showing her do it, because again, this has to get to 85 minutes somehow, damn it! And while she does this, Diamond runs into Zack and uses her powers to find out he's an alien. And the best character in the movie is now gone because he jumps into a belly flop on the hard ground and transforms into our rubber suit monster. The monster costume doesn't actually look that bad for how abysmal the production values are everywhere else, but it sure doesn't look like the creature on the box, and it looks even less like a damn predator! I'm in a bit of an awkward spot here because they never give the creature any kind of a name, so I think I'll just call it The Shame. The Shame spends some time menacing Diamond and Dirk before somehow disappearing and reappearing as Kenny, so Terry bashes Alien Kenny's skull in with a rock. The Shame isn't dead yet, though, so I don't know how or why it just vanished in the middle of trying to kill our other leads. Rat Bastard could have ended the movie right here and just chose not to because he hates us!
I mean, it was Kenny, but then he transformed into something else.
Yeah, he transformed into a dead body.
I feel like none of you are all that shocked or sad that Kenny's dead. Later that night, our survivors are huddled around a fire that keeps changing color between green and orange because the color grading is boned. Vickers doesn't believe that there's an alien on the planet that can disguise itself, despite having admitted that she doesn't think the ship went down by accident, and despite the fact that Zach's body is gone, and despite all three of the people with her corroborating the same story. She also doesn't believe that Diamond is really a psychic, despite having had a conversation with her boyfriend about how much it sucks dating a psychic. Apparently they just needed to argue about bullshit to pad the movie out another 5 minutes. And then something weird happens.
And this thing, or things, can invade a host body and control them. Then how do we know that we all are still us?
Well, the movie is finally taking cues from a classic 80s monster movie. Too bad it's the wrong 80s monster movie. Out of nowhere, the movie starts copying scenes whole hog from John Carpenter's The Thing, since both are now about an alien that replicates itself by killing and replacing people to look human, and nobody in the group knows who's an alien. But any attempt at suspense falls flat on its face because all these characters are idiots who couldn't act wet if they fell off a boat in a monsoon. Oh god, it's still going!
But from what Dirk says, he doesn't know much more about you.
I sense you two got rather friendly while I was away. You think I'm using you?
Well, aren't you?
You're being chased by an alien monster that wants to rape, kill, and replace all of you. But sure, let's take 5 to discuss your boyfriend's infidelity. Terry starts to feel sick, and sadly I can't show you for the maximum effect. Terry's nipples peel and rip off of her breasts, and then alien worms explode out of her boobs. I can't show you the scene, but I can show you my Discord mod Schnick's reaction to it. Everybody runs into the life pod, because I guess not having air in the pod isn't a problem anymore, dipshits, as the monster shows up and throws a dummy of Terry into the fire because apparently exploding boob worms on its own wasn't fatal. I'm just impressed that this shot has what looks like an actual window instead of another green screen. They fire the pod's engines to scare off the Shame, then an alien worm gets into the pod with them, so Diamond mind melds with a newborn worm and somehow gets the species' entire history.
Pain?
That is a rational reaction to having to watch parts of the movie again. The Shame's home planet was blown up by a supernova, they took to space in rocks, and they're controlled by a central brain that's in the main Shame monster. Except later on they do kill the Shame and the alien worms keep going, so why stop for all this boring exposition if you're not even going to use it? Her getting all this information off a newborn probably should have tipped the others off that Diamond's been turned by the Shame, except our leads are stupid and they have to argue about who's an alien and rip off more scenes from The Thing.
Both of you, sit down and strap yourselves in the seats.
I'd rather not spend the rest of this winter tied to this fucking couch!
If 2 of us were infected, it would make it easy for us to overpower the third.
I know I'm human. And if you were all these things, then you just attack me right now. So some of you are still human.
Rest assured, though, this next part has nothing to do with The Thing, or Predator, or any good movie ever. Diamond walks outside, strips naked, and she has sex with the monster costume. And then she walks off to the side and squeezes giant alien worms out of her cooch. I got nothing. Miles, do you have any input on this scene? How does one react to shit like this? It's not an impressive scene, it's just a crappy CG worm pasted over an actress's spasm chasm. That's not cool, it's just stupid! They get a transmission that a rescue party will arrive in 24 hours, so come morning they gear up to go fight the aliens once and for all.
I am sick of these motherfucking worms on this motherfucking planet!
In Predator, Arnold gears up for the final battle by making spears, using vines and sticks to make a bow and arrow, and building traps to lure the monster into a showdown on his home turf. Our leads in Predator World spend 4 minutes picking up twigs out of their backyard. No, I'm not kidding. They pick up some sticks that look like they'll snap in half after one solid whack, and now they're ready to fight the alien. And this isn't played as a joke, no. The funny part comes in when the montage is broken up by some alien worms practicing their lightning breath. But one of them can't quite do it. How is this a thing? Oh, and our leads never actually fight these worms. They just drop out of the movie entirely without explanation. Maybe they ran out of budget, maybe it was too hard to animate. My personal theory is the leads wanted out of this movie so badly that they just didn't stick around to film any more fight scenes.
Groovy.
Oh hey, Evil Dead reference. Cool. Anybody want to toss out a reference to Predator? It's only in the title! Aha! We can throw tiny blunt sticks into the ground! Truly, we are ready for battle! They figure out that the shame creatures must be weak to taking blows to the head, which is a fair guess given that caving someone's head in is lethal to most living things, you dumb shits!
That if the brain is severely damaged, there's no coming back.
I trust that logic. I do believe this film's crew knows all about brain damage. And so, armed with a pile of frail sticks, our heroes... Sorry, I couldn't call them that with a straight face. The final battle begins. Vickers and the Shame try very hard not to damage the costume and feebly swat at the empty air about a foot away from each other. Yeah, the Shame has a 6-foot prehensile scorpion tail for a penis. I have no explanation anymore. And Diamond just kind of mildly irritates Dirk with a CG tongue while he just stands there like a useless tool. A few stray neurons eventually fire in Dirk's brain, and he force feeds the Shame a ton of the erection pills, causing its junk to swell up until the monster explodes. Oh god, you've heard of Chekhov's gun, now you've heard of Chekhov's boner medication.
Looks like it's time to finish this once and for all.
Tasha, I know you fantasize every night about wrapping a bat in barbed wire and taking it to the skull of everyone here, but could you at least try acting your way out of a paper bag, please? Apparently the Shame really does let you teleport because Diamond goes from forcing Dirk to the ground butt-ass naked to confronting Vickers fully clothed over a 3-second cut. Diamond has telekinesis now, because Eat Duke, in the form of super ugly waves that appear behind people that they're supposed to be in front of, because Eat Duke. The Shame's plan is to hitch a ride back to Earth aboard the rescue shuttle and kill everyone to reproduce itself.
You seem to know a lot about Earth.
A lot of useful information stored up here.
I doubt that. But Dirk is somehow still alive and kills Diamond by stabbing a blunt tree branch all the way through her head. I don't even think Captain America could pull that off, and the two halves of Stick don't even slightly line up. But I guess it ends the movie faster. A rescue ship arrives with 2 park rangers that they just ran into, judging by those uniforms. But Dirk gets taken over by an alien worm in his brain, teleports over to the rangers, and gets them to shoot Vickers.
Hey, get the fuck away from me. Scotty!
Whatever it is that got into her could have gotten into you.
Sir,
Oh my god, a person who's actually smart! We can't have that! Kill him! Kill him quick!
what the hell? I am loving these telekinetic powers.
1. Telekinesis is not the same as hypnotism. 2. How do you still have psychic powers if the psychic is dead? 3. Why is this movie still going when you've killed the villain off twice? 4. Your movie is trash!
You were never a threat to us. In fact, it was all really, really fun.
My god, Dirk, it can't be! That brainworm has turned you into a decent actor! Alien Dirk leaves Vickers for dead to head for Earth, but then Vickers takes a handgun off the dead ranger and somehow lands a perfect headshot on Dirk through the windshield of a spaceship that was turned 90 degrees away from her. The ship crashes, everyone dies, and the last shot of the movie is Vickers using her final moments to flip off the audience before the credits roll. Oh, don't worry, the viewer is well aware that they just got fucked. Predator World blows past just being a bad movie into psychological damage that you carry for the rest of your life. With completely insufferable characters, production that's ugly as sin, and infuriatingly juvenile writing obsessed with sex, but without the decency to be outright porn. What the hell is this movie even supposed to be? There's no horror, tension, or action. There's all of one semi-creative kill that isn't even cool, just disgusting. The monster is barely on screen and it doesn't do anything. And if this movie is supposed to be a spoof, why is it so blisteringly unfunny? There is nothing charming about this pile of dreck. And the only solace of having seen Predator World is to share it with as many of you as possible so that I'm not the only one with the damage. And with that, I spread the mind virus of what should never be, of the worst movie that I have ever seen.